Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Football View. If you're new here, you know what to do, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Well, Kotoko couldn't beat King Faisal last night at the Babar Stadium in Kumasi. It was a very disappointing game, a boring game, and a game that fans would have expected a good result. But, you know, as usual, whenever you get Kotoko gets your hopes high, they end up bringing them down to the floor. So it was a very frustrating game for the fans to watch. You can see that some secondary school students came to watch that game. Even Chris Hutton was there to watch that game, and they were all disappointed by the performance Kotoko put out. Today we'll be talking about what we noticed in that game, talking points from that game, starting from the tactics, players that didn't help matters, and the coach inability to read the game and make necessary changes. If you're new here, subscribe if you haven't, and click the notification bell. The first two we'll talk about here is the two strikers we have. The two strikers up front, that is Stephen Mokwala and De Sousa. Both of them were isolated because at a point you expect one of them to drop down and help the midfield to create chances for the person up front. Either Mokwala dropping down or De Sousa dropping down. He tried it several times, but he couldn't perfect it. He tried moving to the wings, tried going, but he couldn't do it. Abdul Ghazel didn't have a plan, a second plan. If the plan A didn't work, what should I do? He didn't have a second plan to help Kotoko win the game. Once the game started, you see Stephen Mokwala and De Sousa were not able to help the team. He even stated that in a post-match interview that they were so isolated that they couldn't come back and help the team. So that was the first point, or the first thing I noticed in that game. The second thing I noticed was that King Faisal crowded the midfield. Ignatius Osei also crowded the midfield and made Kotoko, they forced Kotoko to start playing the long balls, and eventually distorted Kotoko's style of play. And Abdul Ghazel again didn't have an answer to that particular tactic, because even when they got the red card, they still controlled the game. They still controlled the midfield. They still restricted Kotoko from actually creating chances. That is one of the things I noticed. King Faisal actually dominated the midfield. They crowded the midfield and restricted Kotoko to long balls. Kotoko couldn't create chances. Even if you see that they have created few chances, like pass the ball and break the crowded midfield, and they laid a pass that just breaks the line in the midfield, Kotoko looked dangerous in that aspect. They did, I think, 2 or 3 passes did that, break the line of the King Faisal midfield. But it was later that Ignatius Osei also discovered that the line of the midfield were being broken by one long pass towards the person at the edge of the box. So what he did was that he moved his midfield back a little bit, so that if a pass comes in that will break the line, there will be someone there to tackle the receiving player. Abdul Ghazel couldn't find a plan B for Kotoko or how to outsmart Ignatius Osei in that aspect. They crowded the midfield and they forced Kotoko to play long balls. The third talking point in that game is that Abdul Ghazel doesn't know how to make changes. That is one of the things I feel reading the game. I know against RTU, he brought in Fuegi and he's given assist and all that, but this one shows that he doesn't know how to read the game. They said Erizeze was on a yellow card, that's why he brought him out. He shouldn't have brought him out. Erizeze was a yellow card, so there are important players in games they're on yellow card. The coach tells them to ease off the tackles, caution them to, you know, use their head when they're going to tackles, and maybe change roles so that he won't be in a position to tackle the ball and, you know, eventually get a second yellow card. But what did he do? He removed a creator, a playmaker of, that's Erizeze. He removed Erizeze to bring in Sharif Mohammed, who is a defender, who is a defensive-minded player. How do you expect chances to be created? How do you expect Kotoko to beat King Faisal when you remove someone that creates, someone that scores, and bring Sharif Mohammed, who is a defensive-minded player? If Erizeze was on the pitch when they got the red card, Erizeze might have made a difference in that game. Sharif Mohammed doesn't know how to create chances. He doesn't have that intelligence of a playmaker. That is one of the reasons Kotoko couldn't break the King Faisal defense even when they were 10 men down. So it was a very disappointing decision from Abdul Ghazal in that particular game. And another talking point in that game was that the wing backs, that's in person of Akosene Japan and Osei Bonsu, when they get the ball at the wings, they don't know what to do. They waste time, contemplate without giving accurate crosses, accurate passes, or accurate decisions that will eventually lead to chance creation or goals. They don't know how to use the wing back position, or they didn't know how to use the wing back position in that particular game against King Faisal, because if they did, they could have created a lot of good goal scoring opportunities for the strikers up front in that particular game. So they should work. Abdul Ghazal and the technical team should work on the wing backs. Tell them, make up your mind, be decisive and cross the ball and give accurate crosses into the box. That is one of the talking points. The wing backs disappointed Asante Kotoko yesterday. The last and not the least is back to Abdul Ghazal. I don't know if he will be the permanent coach. I doubt he will be the permanent coach. He didn't put out a performance yesterday against King Faisal that suggests that he will be the permanent coach. He doesn't know how to read game. He doesn't know how to change the tactics when it's not working out. I don't think he has plan B in his games. And when you see him speak his post-match press conference, he's as if he's experimenting. He keeps saying that he wants to go back and perfect it. He wants to go back to the drawing board. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. He said the same thing against Legon Cities, removed Eric Zeze and Kotoko conceded. Did the same thing against King Faisal last night, removed Eric Zeze, Kotoko conceded. Now, I'm not saying that it was Eric Zeze, the substitution of Eric Zeze, that made Kotoko not to win Legon Cities and King Faisal. I'm saying that if he has seen that a particular decision has changed the game negatively and he keeps doing it, then he is not fit to be the coach of Asante Kotoko. That is my point. So I don't think Abdul Ghazal has shown me so far that he wants to be, that he is fit or he is ready to be the head coach of Asante Kotoko. Starting from his post-match conferences and how he reads game, I don't think he has what it takes to be the next coach of Asante Kotoko. I would like to know your thoughts. That is all I have for you today. I've talked about how the strikers were isolated, the midfield, and how Abdul Ghazal couldn't read the midfield. King Faisal packed up front. I also talk about the wing backs not helping. I also talk about the coach not being able to read games and make appropriate changes. That is all I noticed. Those are the talking points from Kotoko's 0-0 game against King Faisal at the Barra Stadium last night. I hope you did enjoy that. If you did, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and tell me what you think about the game, because I thought it was a very disappointing game and Kotoko should have done much better. Ignatius Osei-Fosu has been talking a lot after getting another draw against Kotoko. So that was all for today. Subscribe if you haven't and click the notification bell. Till next time, guys. Goodbye.